Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a recap of Married at First Sight, Season 17, Episode 19, Sex, Lies, and Questionable Behavior. We are opening up at the shared apartments and it is 6 days until decision day. Claire is visiting Emily at Emily's apartment and it's just them two kind of catching up. And, Claire is just kind of letting Emily know about what's been transpiring between her and Cameron, which is really not much. I mean, Cameron is not, I don't even think they're in the shared apartment together because number one, he's been dealing with a health issue. And, but she is letting Emily know that she's spoken with Cameron and Cameron is saying, Claire, you're going to be emotional on decision day, which is fast approaching. But keep in mind, we have already made our decision, which before Cameron even really got sick, they had kind of already decided to separate and not move forward with getting married, even though they decided to stay in the process together. And of course, Emily is now sharing that her and Brennan have been in a really good place since her accident. And she is saying, I don't know if I would have had this accident and Brennan not be here the way, Cameron and you have kind of separated. She's not sure how she would have done it. And Brennan has really stepped up during this process for her. And so, Claire's like, well, as far as your decision, what are you thinking? And Emily is thinking, things have been so well between the two of them that she's really in a good place as far as making a decision. Emily goes on to say that, they haven't came right out and said it because they've been dealing with so much with getting her back to health. But Emily is saying that they have dinner reservations for that evening and she will broach the topic with him. But at the moment, Emily is feeling good. She definitely is thinking that she wants to move forward with staying married to Brennan. Now, moving over to Austin and Becca, they are actually going to do, they're in a pottery class, so they're, doing a little crafting session. But what Becca is speaking on in her confessional is that, when the cameras are rolling, Austin is really good about saying how he feels about her and expressing that, he's very interested in her and he cares about her and he loves her, he want to be with her. But when those cameras start rolling, he is completely different. And once again, Becca, I'm already trying to tell you, you better believe what he is showing you when those cameras are not rolling. So Becca is sharing with Austin, how she has been feeling that he is different when the cameras are rolling versus when they're off. And, of course, he says, I'm sorry you feel that way, which, again, me personally, when someone says, I'm sorry you feel that way, that is really not an apology, but she accepts it as one. So then she goes on. Well, Austin brings up the fact that their last conversation with Dr. Cal, and Dr. Cal mentioned, trying to work through things a little bit better. And he's asking Becca, do you feel like we're doing better since we've had that conversation with Dr. Cal, Pastor Cal? And she says, yeah, usually when I ask you something or when I say something, you become really combative. And he says, that he's trying not to. He's trying to be better. And she said that she can see the improvement in that. At the same time, Austin seems to be walking on eggshells around Becca because at this point, she has become a little bit sensitive about things because things haven't been going well and she does feel rejected in a lot of areas. Austin seems to be walking on eggshells around her, and he makes mention that it almost is like she wants someone that is passive. And he mentioned in her previous relationships, she told him that most of those guys just kind of did whatever she said. And Austin is saying, it feels like that is what you want from me. You want someone to just do what you are saying. And she's saying, well, no, that's not the case. And Becca is getting a little emotional. She's starting to tear up a little bit. And Austin is, reaching out, trying to console her and comfort her. And, Becca is saying, I just don't know what it is you want from me. You're saying that, I want you to be passive, but all of my others were passives. And actually, Austin, what I disagree with here is if she is sharing with you from her past relationships with Becca, don't do that going forward. Just don't share stuff like that. But whatever happened in your previous relationship, keep it to yourself, because this right here is what will happen. Austin or whomever you're dating, at some point, they're going to bring it up and throw it back in your face. So you have to be careful what you are sharing with each other. So during the segment, as they're talking, Becca gets up. I actually thought she was walking out the door, but she actually says, I'm cold. I'm going to grab a jacket. Becca says, I'm going to grab your jacket, Austin, because it has fleece. And she grabs it. Mind you, they have been doing pottery. And so he kind of laughs, but says, okay, sure, grab mine and get mine dirty. She doesn't say anything. She turns right around, put his bag and picks hers up. And then he said, I would just appreciate it if you would have washed your hands first. I mean, I agree with that. I mean, you don't want to get other people's stuff dirty, but, she's already in her feelings in this moment. So she doesn't say anything, and she grabs her jacket, puts his back. So the whole Becca grabbing his jacket really became a huge deal because, he feels like she is trying to make him look bad for asking her to wash her hands before she grabbed his jacket. And she's feeling like, basically she's feeling like she's not a priority. Like the jacket is more precious in this moment than how she is feeling. Yeah, I think that just got blown a little bit out of proportion. But it's just another notch in the belt of these things are escalating. These small things are escalating into one huge argument between the two. Now we are with Chloe and Michael, and they're in the shared apartment, and Dr. Pia is stopping by. So, Dr. Pia is mentioning that she did the home visits prior to them meeting for both Chloe and Michael. And what she gleaned from those home visits is that both Chloe and Michael are very, sexual people. They don't have any problem with intimacy. And so she wanted to know, okay, how's it going? Are you two getting along in that area? And Michael is really deferring to Chloe because we all know, I truly believe Michael is ready to get it on and popping. I mean, when he was in that tub, that one episode, he wanted her to get in, but she didn't. But Chloe is saying that she is wanting to build an emotional connection, and she said that she discussed that with Michael. And of course Michael's a quote-unquote people pleaser, so of course he's like, okay, whatever you want, but he is respecting that. And so they have not been intimate as of yet, but they are admitting that they are exploring each other's bodies at this point. So this is really interesting because they, although they are wanting to build the emotional connection, so they haven't been intimate yet, but they do admit that they are exploring each other's bodies. In other words, some heavy petting. And Chloe is admitting that, she sleeps in the nude. Now, come on now. Somebody lying. I am not here to believe that y'all are doing all these things and nothing else. No, somebody lying. So Dr. Pia is also like, okay, what's really going on? Well, she ends up giving Michael and Chloe a homework assignment to go to a novelty store and pick up 3 things to be able to use with each other. Honestly, I don't think they need the extra help. They just need to go ahead and get it on and popping. I don't think they need it. They both are already sexual people. They clearly are enjoying each other. They just need to go ahead and just do it. Get to it already. So moving over to Emily and Brennan, they are at their dinner, and both of them really seem to be in really good spirits. I mean, they're smiling, they seem to be happy. And then, Emily is just talking about the place that she's in right now, and she's letting him know, she feels like everything is going really well, especially since the accident. She feels like the accident has shown her a different side of Brennan that she was not seeing before. And then Brennan starts to talk about how before they were quote unquote friends. He had moved to more of a friend stage, trying to get to know her better, even though they were married at first sight. So he's just kind of talking about the friend aspect and what the expectations were for him versus what she was expecting. And rightfully so. Emily says, we're not here to be friends. In so many words, we are in a marriage. And she said also that you did not make it clear to me that you wanted us to be just friends. And Brennan said, well, my actions were showing. Yes, definitely your actions were showing that you did not want to be married. That is for sure. And he's saying, so if that wasn't enough, my actions, then that's on Brennan. He was taking responsibility for that. And clearly the tension is starting to rise because, Emily is saying, okay, you're saying you wanted to be friends. You wanted us to be friends, but we're on a show called Married at First Sight. So clearly, we're married. And Brennan is getting frustrated because we all know Brennan does not want to look bad in front of everybody. And so on these cameras, you can tell he is really biting his tongue. But, he's saying he's feeling like his efforts were not being acknowledged. And Emily is saying most people would have already left at this point. At that point when you were acting the way you were acting towards her. And she's right. Like, if this was a situation where they weren't already married at first sight, some of the things that Brennan was doing, it was a bit much. I mean, it was a lot. And I kind of agree with Emily. I don't think a lot of women would have stuck around for his behavior. So as they're sitting there and going back and forth over the relationship and everything that's transpired, and Emily says that she would like him to speak to the fact of, where he is and why. And so he does say, in the most neutral tone, as he has been very neutral, I can definitely tell he tries to keep his composure. He just says, there was a lot of negativity, and that's one of his deal breakers. She has right out the gate, he could see some red flags that, he just does not want to deal with. And that's kind of why he friend zoned her in the beginning. And so she's saying that she doesn't feel she's a negative person at all. Like, she's not. And he felt like he did give her an example of, when she spoke on Michael's and Chloe's vows and wedding vows, and how she felt like they were playing. She expected a little bit more. And everybody in the group, when she was talking about their wedding vows, was kind of laughing it off, but Brennan did not. Like, Brennan is the type of person that, he is going to hold on to every single thing you said, and he will not give you grace about it. And that's okay. That's who he is. But that's what you got to know. If you're going to be with somebody like that, that's going to hold on to every single thing that you say and not give you any grace about it, not let you live it down, not, and which is why he probably doesn't say much to me. He doesn't want anybody to hold anything over his head. But, Emily is saying that she doesn't think it's fair, that he is doing and saying these things. And she does, like she said, I am a very positive person. And Emily, at this moment, she is definitely, her feelings are hurt. Like, she is upset. She's crying, and because she definitely disagrees that she's negative. She feels like she is very positive. She doesn't feel like people have said that about her before. But what Brendan is saying in this moment, so you don't see where you were negative at all the time, is what he's saying all the time. Brendan, that's a bit much. Okay, yeah, she may have had a few negative comments about something, but negative all the time? No, come on now. So Emily, she walks off from the table, and because she's trying to get herself together, she's crying and she's in the bathroom, and that's fine. But she is sitting on the bathroom floor. Now this is a public restroom, and I personally I hate public restrooms, so there is no way that I'm going to be sitting on the floor in a public restroom. I mean, they are in a fine dining establishment. I do not care. Girl, if you don't get up off of that floor. So Emily gets herself together from the bathroom. She goes back to the table and she asks the waiter for another glass of Malbec. And when I tell y'all, Brendan is like, please, let's get out of here because I do not want to sit here any longer. I kind of like, y'all, at this point, y'all need to go ahead and throw in the towel because you guys will never, y'all are not going to come to a resolution on this. Brendan's mind is already, it's been made up. It was made up before the accident. And yes, he was much better to Emily during that process when she, needed to get herself back together. We had hopes. But now that she is healed and back to things are back to normal for them, Brendan doesn't want it, Emily. And unfortunately, I know that you had hopes about that it would work out because of how good he was treating you. And I did too, I gotta admit. But Brendan does not want it. He feels like he saw exactly who you were when you guys first met within those first couple of weeks. And anything that you did wrong during that time, that's what's stuck in his head. That's it. That's all. So back over to the shared apartment with Becca and Austin. And so the cameras are not really there. Like the production team isn't there. However, of course, the apartments have hidden cameras. So although they still know that they're being filmed 24/7, the cameras are still there, but they are having a conversation, Becca and Austin, about how Austin is saying he feels like she is making Austin look bad when the cameras are around. So he's expressing to her, you're constantly saying to the cameras and to the experts that I'm one way when the cameras are here, I'm a different way when the cameras are gone. And Becca's like, well, I mean, that is. And Austin is like, no, no, I feel like you're just, I'm trying to be one way. It's just, I'm trying to let you know that I feel I like you. I want this. And Becca's like, but when the cameras are gone, you're completely different. Basically, they are going in circles about this whole conversation and how Becca is saying the quiet things out loud as it pertains to Austin. And Austin is not being his genuine self the entire time. Becca doesn't know who she's dealing with. Although Becca needs to know whoever Austin is when the production is not around, that's who he is. So if you're not happy with that person, Becca, go ahead and pack your bags, sis. Well, now we are 4 days until decision day, and we are waking up with Emily and Brennan's shared apartment. And Emily is saying, the dinner was bad enough, but when we got back home, Brennan went ahead and went on back to his own home. He left her in the shared apartment. And, Emily is saying, just when she feels like it couldn't get worse, again, she was really looking forward to the dinner. She was in good spirits, but it definitely took a turn. She says that, just when I thought it couldn't get worse, it does. Now we're going over to Michael and Chloe, and it is 15 days of marriage. They are actually headed to do their homework assignment to the novelty store. So we don't know what they ended up buying at the novelty store, but they certainly had a good time looking around. So now we are back with at Emily's apartment, and we already know that Brennan has left, but Claire stops by for another visit because Claire's husband had been gone. So clearly, Claire has had some information that she's been holding on to. She says basically to protect Emily, but now that, we are only a couple days away from the decision day, and now that Brennan has kind of left the shared apartment, she's letting Emily know that Brennan has been trying to go on double dates with Cameron, Cameron is Claire's husband. And not only that, but, he has been going out on dates during this process. Now, Brennan, is this true? Is this true? Come and let us know. Let's be honest. Is this why you've been treating Emily this way? Is this why you have been ready to go since the fourth day since the honeymoon phase? What is going on? So we are about 2 days or 3 days maybe to decision day, but with the newfound information that Emily has received from Claire, she calls Brennan and basically confronts him and says, hey, the word is you're out here trying to go on double dates with Cameron. Explain yourself. And he says it's not true. So as he is saying that was not true, that he was not trying to go on a double date with Cam, he did say that he joked around about it with Cam, and apparently Cam told Claire about it. And that's how it all came to a head. Well, basically, Emily, goes on to say, first of all, you should not be joking about going out with other people. And I do agree with her, but she is on a level 10. I mean, she is really upset. Even though she's keeping her composure, she's still really upset. She's calling him, dumb or stupid or things like that. And on the other hand, Brennan is being Brennan, and that is he is still trying to not look bad on TV. So when I tell you Brennan is holding his tongue and making sure that he is not trying to say anything out of pocket, he's not. But at the same time, he is still not treating her like a husband should treat his wife. And as Emily is going through and saying some of the things he's saying, Brennan is like, look, I saved your life, sir. Actually, yeah, I mean, you were there with her, but you didn't save her life. Let's not go crazy. You didn't save her life. Thank God you were there with her when the accident happened. But no, we're not gonna give you that. And he feels like because he quote unquote saved her life, she needs to be more appreciative towards him. She needs to be talking to him a little bit better. And Emily is like, you better get the heck up out of here with that foolishness, because no, anybody would have stepped in and stepped up in that situation, Brennan. And I would like to think so too. So ultimately, at the end of this back and forth with Emily and Brennan says, look, I'll be by there later today. I'm coming by the shared apartment. I'm going to pick up the rest of my stuff. And I'm getting the heck up out of here. And I will see you on decision day. So the girls, all the wives are getting together. Chloe, Emily, Becca, and Claire are getting together at one of the shared apartments. Probably just to have some girl therapy and some, let's talk about it. Let's lift each other up. So Chloe immediately starts the conversation, fill me in. How are you guys doing? Of course, Chloe's relationship with Michael is blossoming. I mean, they're in a really good spot. Yes, they did have one hiccup But they're in a really good spot. So Chloe is like, how are y'all doing? Well, Becca takes a bite of her food because I can't talk with food in my mouth. She's not going first. And then Claire and Emily are just looking at each other because guess what? This season of Married at First Sight is a fail. I don't even know if we're going to have one yes couple. Maybe Chloe and Michael. We'll see. So Emily decides to go first. And the first thing she says is, I found out that Brennan had asked Kim to go on a double date. Now, this is allegedly. We don't know if it's true. Emily doesn't know if it's true because Brennan did not admit to that. He said that did not happen and that he was just joking around. So we really don't know. But then Emily does continue to say, he's talked about how negative I've been, that I'm the most negative person he's ever dealt with. And Becca says, my problem with Emily is that she's probably the most positive person. And Emily does seem to be very bubbly. Now, nobody is perfect. And of course, you're not going to agree with everything, but she does come off to be super bubbly. And then Becca is saying that apparently Brennan makes Emily delete some of their diary videos if he doesn't like it. Now, this is something new. Now, again, I kind of believe this because the whole season, Brennan has been very conscious of how he comes off on television. He wants to make sure that it's not a spot, stain, or wrinkle on his clothes, on his personality, honey. He want to look like a shining star. Well, Brennan, unfortunately, you still coming out looking bad. Sorry. So Becca begins to talk about her relationship with Austin and saying a lot of similarities is that Austin also wants to look a certain way on camera. So that's why he gets upset with her if on camera she's saying things like he's being combative and dismissive. Austin doesn't like that. He doesn't want to look bad. And since all of this for Becca is a new revelation to her, she is feeling like, at this moment, with decision day being a couple days away, she feels like she still wants to say yes because she still loves Austin, and she feels like he does love her, but at the same time, she does have some doubts and she has some insecurities because he doesn't confirm her enough. So now, Brennan actually comes over to get the rest of his belongings from the shared apartment, and Emily is there and she's sitting on the couch. Now, me personally, I just wouldn't have been there. I would have been like, well, around what time are you coming? Let me know. I'm going to step out so you can get your stuff. But she's there. And after he's done packing up his stuff, he said, do you want to talk for a second? And she said, nope. And he said, okay, well, best wishes. One day until decision day, and we are back at the shared apartment of Becca and Austin. And Becca is sitting on the couch and she's saying, at some point, Austin has decided to leave the shared apartment. Now, what we noticed from the scene before is that Becca had went and had lunch with one of her friends, and Austin had went and had lunch with one of his friends, just to kind of run things by their friend to see if they're thinking properly. And of course, both of their friends told them individually, girl, you right. Boy, you right. Don't, well, both people can't be right in the situation, can it? So I believe one of Austin's biggest concerns is becoming, not looking bad, the optics, right? And honestly, I really felt like this whole time Austin was he really was not looking bad. Like he seemed like he was very much into Becca for the most part. I mean, yeah, they did have their issues. They do have their issues, but for the most part, I don't feel like he was treating her bad. I think that, he just wasn't into her. He may be using the whole optics thing to get out of it because ultimately, Becca, girl, I just think he really didn't like you in that manner. He didn't want to be intimate with you. And I think he may be using optics as a way out. So, again, we're decision day is quickly approaching, and now Brendan is actually making a diary cam video, and of course he is not with Emily in the shared apartment, but what he is saying that, okay, decision day is coming, and I would not have wanted to do this with anyone else. And then he pauses for a minute and he says, you know what, actually that's not true. At least you're being honest, Brennan. I mean, at least you being honest, because I was geared to say, now, wait a minute, because before you acted like you couldn't stand Emily. Yeah, okay, we are back in the shared apartment with Michael and Chloe, and they are in the bed, and they are, opening up all their new goodies that they bought from the novelty shop. And all I can say is, if they don't get it popping after playing with these toys, something is not right. But that's the end of the episode. Drop down in the comments and let me know what you guys thought of this week's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.